Hi everyone. It's not a great time in history to be a foreigner. So much prejudice and negativity is stacked against us at the moment. And yet, here we are. We are living in the country that continuously ranks #1 on the list of countries that are most unwelcoming towards expats in the world. To be fair, I think none of us came here for the warm and welcoming attitude of the locals, right? And to be even more fair, over 30% of Austria's population consists from us, immigrants, and second-generation immigrants. So maybe we are a tiny bit part of this problem. But how Austria scores on friendliness is not something that interests me. What interests me and what moves me is whether we feel like we belong here. In the country, because like I heard also from many people yesterday, and I heard many times before, Austria was not really our dreamed country. But just like many of you, I came because I followed someone I love. After the decision was made, I had no doubt my life and my career will continue to thrive. After all, I was freshly graduated with a law degree from university in Bulgaria, EU still. I got accepted here in a master's for international law. I've worked as a legal intern, as a legal associate. I'm working since I'm 16, and I've crushed every job interview I was at. I was offered every single job on every single interview before I moved here. So hundreds of unsuccessful job applications later, I realized that anything I seemed to care about was A, I do not speak German like a native speaker. And B, my impressive resume consisted of experiences collected outside of Austria, and because of that, they were deemed useless. If you think my master's from University of Vienna helped, you will be so wrong. All of a sudden, everything that I worked hard with determination and intention in the past 10, 13, 15 years, I was told is irrelevant. On the top of that, the regulations for my profession, for the legal profession, were so restrictive that I was not even able to work on my own. Something I dreamed about since I was 9-year-old, watching Ali McBeal on TV in Bulgaria. This reality, sorry, before that, I'm a bit nervous. That's okay, that's okay. Sorry. At this point, people ask, okay, then why don't you leave if it's so bad? Well, living is not always easy. My husband was here, and I was pregnant with our first child. It felt like Austria, in my head, Austria was taking away the life that I dreamed for myself. And I've done nothing to deserve this. I've always worked very hard. Most Austrians I would meet would just ask me, so how's your German? It made me feel reduced to my ability to speak that bloody language in any given moment. I felt like no one is looking beyond my imperfect grammar, and no one cared who I was as a person. That reality made me feel very hopeless. It also made me feel angry, and it made me feel resentful. And yet I think I only hit rock bottom after my son was born. Those of you who have children know how isolating this experience is. Not to mention, I would get asked very often, am I my son's nanny? You see, my son looks exactly like his dad. He's the poster child of the blondest, truest Austrian. It became very clear to me that I'm raising Austrian children. They are growing up in a context, cultural and social context, I didn't. They were at home here, unlike me. So even in my family, I felt like the foreigner. This weighed very heavily on me. The most soul-crushing thing was the sense of guilt that I had for feeling this way. I could not leave. I could not go on like that. I was in a trap that I put myself into. I thought, what an ungrateful brat I am. I'm living in the most livable city in the world with my loving husband and my adoring 2 children. This is my story, but I've heard a version of the story hundreds times over. I know that the struggles we face in the international community are not unique to me. And I know that we hit the same walls. Well, but all we want is to belong. We heard it from the speech before me. We heard it also yesterday. You may be surprised to hear that for a while now, I do feel like I belong. I don't live in that space of despair anymore. And I wanted here to share today with you how that happened, just in case it helps another member of our community. Looking back, the pivotal moment for this transformation was creating something of my own, something I care about. It's not that I don't care about my children, I do very much. I just need something that is mine. I was helping women in my community, the Vienna Family Network, deal with the discriminations of the Austrian bureaucracy on the issues of maternity allowance and child benefits. I did not mean to build anything from that. I could help, so I did it. I understood the system a little bit better than the others. Soon enough, I got approached so often on these topics that a friend of mine and I founded our own NGO, Austria for Beginners. Our goal was to make the complex legal system understandable and accessible for foreigners. Austria for Beginners was not the result of some grand design. We just wanted to help, to feel useful, and to support others when they're facing the same challenges we faced. In the years the organization was active, we reached over 4,000 people from over 55 countries. Through consultations, talks like this one, webinars, seminars, you name it, we're doing all of it. Maybe right now it's needless to say, but I'll say it anyway, I never applied for another job. I went on to establish the first co-working space with a babysitting service in Austria, the Collaboratory, and later on my agency to support other foreigners build their businesses in Austria. Helping other internationals, collaborating with people, feeling capable, seeing the positive impact of my work turned my life here from an existence into a life with purpose. Because I was not this passive subject of the circumstances anymore. I was the driving force that shapes my reality. I'm not saying this to you so I list stuff from my CV. I'm saying this to you because something inside me shifted when I had my first creation. I thought long, what was this that actually made that possible? What allowed me to dare ask questions, not take no as an answer, and relentlessly look for a way to create something. The first thing was that I volunteered. It's something I've done since I'm 10 years old. I found community, I found other people around me, and understood the problems I have, they're not unique to me. It's not something wrong that I'm doing. Just many of us face them. The second thing was, very crucial, I accepted my German is never going to be perfect, ever. What is more, on some days it will be awful, and that's okay. It has nothing to do with my worth as a person. The next one might be a bit hard to hear. As you heard, I've worked with thousands of foreigners. And there is something that we do at some point in my experience around the second year we're here. We start dwelling on what our life could have been in our home country, and we focus on what we don't have here. We stay in this space of frustration, unable to move on. For me, that is a losing game, and it's a game I just don't play anymore. I lacked family here to support me raising my children the way my Bulgarian Balkan family would. Our Austrian in-laws are amazing, but just like you said, they have a very different way of showing love, which was not native to me. At the same time, I also couldn't really fit into the Austrian framework of how long I should stay at home for years and do nothing. Raising children is not nothing, but I needed another thing. So I created the collaboratory, not just for myself, for every other member of the international community, to make working with children without your support network possible. In all of these processes, I started noticing something very curious. I came to Austria with some ideas about myself, who I am, what my life should look like, which were very firm. I thought in a lot of inevitable scenarios. Suddenly, after a few years abroad, those ideas changed. I realized that the biggest advantage you have when you live abroad and you're away from the loving expectations of your family and friends, you have the freedom to decide who you want to be and what you want, how you want your life to be structured without the need to justify it. See, when I was living in Bulgaria, I would have never even thought of founding my business. My parents would have done anything in their power to discourage me from the idea. But here, it was just a logical thing to do. Creating something of my own gave me back the sense of control over my life. I was not living in Austria because I was tagging along my husband and my children. It was a choice that I made also for myself because I was building something. What you build does not need to be a business, it does not need to be an NGO. It could be a project, a group, start something. And if you take one thing from me today, let it be this. There is so much potential in our community. We have an incredible position in between cultures to be able to see things from a different perspective, to be able to create things that are missing, not just for us, but also for the others. Wouldn't it be great if you stopped living like a guest, taking minimum space, and instead start living like you belong here? Thank you.